Is behind bars after police say he shot and killed his parents earlier this week in Waterbury. Javion Adams faces multiple charges, including murder. Police say the shooting happened during an argument over money. Police then arrested Adams in Watertown after he allegedly broke into a home there. As that investigation obviously continues, domestic violence prevention advocates raising awareness of the potential warning signs. Your reporter Taylor Knight live in Waterbury for us this morning, explaining what you should look out for. Good morning, Taylor.
Good morning, Caitlin. Police say that this was a dispute between the suspect and his family over money. And right now, during Domestic Violence Awareness Month, it's important to know how to identify and prevent domestic violence. One neighbor told Channel 3 that he saw a man and a woman arguing on the front lawn of the home on Beverly Avenue just hours before the shooting happened earlier this week. Prosecutors shared in court that the family was having an argument about finances, saying that they have video of Javion Adams being accused of taking money from the house. If you are worried about someone, you should check in on them regularly. Help is always available by calling the Domestic Violence Awareness Hotline. And if you're worried about your own safety or someone else's, call police immediately. Waterbury police are meeting with advocacy groups next week to help the community better understand and identify domestic violence. Your reporter live in Waterbury, Taylor Knight, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right.